All right. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Thanks so much for joining us. My name's Anthony Savelli. I'm the EVP of Sales at Libsyn. Absolutely thrilled to be here in Austin. I'm a Texas native. I'm from Dallas. So I have to say to everybody, I feel obligated. Welcome to Texas. Austin is a major hub for tech, film, music, now podcasting, thanks to South by Southwest and Sounds Profitable and Podcast Movement. So I want to just shut everyone out. And I want to say there's like probably 4,000 podcasts get launched in Austin per day. So just kidding. Um, anyways, my job puts me in. I get to talk to creators every single day. Big creators, small creators, and I want to just say that the gap between being a hobbyist and an icon has never been smaller, but it's also never been more competitive. Today, there's over 4.5 million podcasts in existence. And today we're going to talk a little bit about what sets the icons and major creators apart from the rest of them. So with that, I'm so thrilled to be joined by the hosts of Girls Gone Bible, Angela Halili and Arielle Reitsma. So everybody, please welcome them.
Hey guys. Hi.
So we only have 30 minutes today. We're going to dive right into the questions. We're doing a little bit of Q&A. And just to kick things off to both of you, whoever wants to start us off, why don't you introduce yourselves, tell us the name of your show, and in one sentence, what your podcast is about and why your audience keeps coming back.
Hi guys, my name is Angela. Our show is called Girls Gone Bible. And essentially, the show is a platform where we have cultivated community, where we walk through life with our viewers and our audience, and we bring people to Jesus. And that's really the heart of what we do. We focus a lot on mental health, sometimes relationships, and just what it means to move through life following Jesus. That was more than one sentence.
Thank you.
Yeah, we go through it's like real life stuff. You see the messy side, the vulnerable side, just it's like following along with us through our life it's been 2 years, and it's just like it's been so beautiful. We've cultivated this family where we're all growing together in Jesus, and it's just been so beautiful.
In 2 years, I mean, that's amazing. Like, it's 3 years.
Oh, 3 years.
Just under 3 years.
Sorry, guys.
So it's been quite an explosive rise to fame. So, yeah, congratulations on all of your success. And so, Angela, why don't you take us to the beginning? When Girls Gone Bible was just an idea, did you feel that you were launching a brand, like a holistic brand, or did you feel like you were kind of just launching a show and starting a podcast?
We had no idea that we were starting a brand. We could have never truly imagined that it would become what it became, and especially that there would be so many different avenues that would open up, like touring and books and merch and all of these things that we get to do. So no, we didn't even start it with the intention of starting a brand. We just wanted to have authentic conversation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that the audience obviously immediately could tell, it's a genuine, from the heart, and that's such a great answer. So, to Arielle, so what was the first oh wow moment, after launching Girls Gone Bible, where you realized you were onto something special and you had something amazing going?
Yeah. I remember we had just started the Girls Gone Bible Instagram, and we launched our first episode, and I'm looking at our Instagram, and it's going from like 1,000 to 4,000 to 5,000 to 10,000 to like in minutes. And me and Ange are just looking at the numbers, and we're like, oh my gosh. And a moment that was really special for me is when we first launched the first episode, this girl had messaged us, and she said, I was about to give up. And then hearing you guys and the way you guys talked about Jesus and your mental health actually helped me to keep going. And so that was a moment for me where I just looked at Ange and I was like, wow, this is it. Like, this is our purpose. This is what we're meant to do. Because like when we started it, like being so vulnerable, that wasn't easy to like really let our lives out there like that. And so we were a little nervous at first, but hearing such vulnerability from people that we helped them, we were like, oh, we're on to something. So yeah, that's when we knew.
That's amazing, and that's a story we hear a lot. Well, not not often. It's very unique, but it goes beyond just a podcast. That vulnerability, there's something there, something special there. So you immediately had it out of the gate. So that's awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. And back to Angela, you built a deep community fast. So what did you do intentionally to make listeners feel like they were part of something special, part of a community, and not just consuming content and listening to episodes?
I would say on the podcast specifically, we speak directly to the audience a lot. And we treat them like they're in the room with us and like they're our friends. And I think that that's the best way to create a relationship with your audience, is to let them know that, like, I'm not just here to be seen on this podcast. I'm here to interact with you. And so I think that's just what makes people feel so seen, and what makes them feel like, oh, these are our best friends. They're not just on a show being, doing it for them, like they're doing this for us. And then also like doing lives on Instagram, putting up stories, question boxes, like being as interactive as possible. And yeah, just reading comments is dangerous, but it's also really important at the same time, because you genuinely get to know your audience and you know what they need, what they want, and even what they're going through. And I think that creates this like symbiotic energy and relationship between us and the audience.
That's so interesting to hear. I mean, you talk a lot about vulnerability in reading the comments. It can be tough, but it also gives you another avenue to connect in a more deeper level with your audience. So that's interesting. Wow. So back to Arielle, consistency is unattractive, but powerful, right? What habits did you commit to early on that kind of helped you grow when it comes to consistency from the podcast?
I think what helped us grow is we stuck to the basis, which was the Bible. Like Angela had said, oh, we have to read the Bible every single week. So it's kind of like a mini Bible study every episode. And since sticking to that, that was so consistent. And so people have learned with us the Bible. It's like Bible studies with us. And then another thing with consistency, I'm going to go back to vulnerability again. Always making sure we're as real and transparent and vulnerable. And because of our vulnerability, I think being consistent like that has kept people staying with us and growing with us. So
Your message has remained consistent from the early launch of Girls Gone Bible. So I mean, that's amazing to hear. I mean, obviously consistency is a core component of your growth out of the gates. So I want to open this one up to both of you. Let's talk about audience growth. Was it, when you're launching Girls Gone Bible, you're gaining traction, was it one viral moment, word of mouth, a social clip that blew up and went viral? What actually moved the needle in terms of your explosive growth out of the gates?
So before we even started the podcast, Ari and I filmed an episode that we never released because it was awful. But I took clips from that episode and I put them on my TikTok. And so these clips of, me talking about Jesus started to go a little bit viral, and people started saying, who are these girls? Where is this podcast? What is this called? And so Ari and I looked at each other and we're like, okay, we got to do this. And then we filmed our first episode. So from the TikTok, before we even started GGB, there was a little bit of movement. And then we released the episode, and then we posted maybe 4 clips. And to add on to consistency, there is nothing more important than clips. Growth comes from Instagram Reels, TikTok, short form clips. Like, it is the way to explode a show. But we posted like maybe 4 clips from the episode, and then we posted this one clip that got 20 million views, and it was very short and it wasn't anything profound, but for some reason it just did really well. And that's basically what blew everything up, is one clip from the first episode.
Wow, we hear so much about clips in this industry being like a major driver of growth, so that makes sense. And how exciting was it when you saw the viewership on that first major viral clip?
It was amazing and it was scary, and it was like, whoa, this is crazy.
It's like riding a bull, that's what we say down here in Texas. I'm just kidding. Sometimes maybe. All right, Arielle. So, coming off of that, we're talking about majorly viral clips. How important has video been in your growth? Did it change discovery, engagement,
yeah.
overall revenue?
Oh yeah, it changed everything for us. Like hearing someone on a podcast, but actually seeing us in video, it's like you're with your best friends. And so it changed everything for us. In the clips, yeah, clips are everything. You know, one clip can go viral and change the trajectory of your whole business. So yeah, video changed everything for us.
Yeah, that's so.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, and I would just add to that. I just think that, like Ari said, audio is amazing. Our biggest numbers are on YouTube. People want to see us, and I just think that you do yourself a big disservice if you don't have like a good visual.
And we're learning more and more about consumption habits in the industry overall, and YouTube's kind of emerged as the leading consumption platform, if not right among them, depending on which trade you are reading out there. So I'm sure the YouTube executives in the room love hearing that. Um, so, Angela, what platform surprised you as far as social media goes? Which platform surprised you in terms of like driving audience overall? TikTok, Instagram, Facebook? Was it like one specific platform?
So, our Instagram, I feel like, is where we put most of our focus in. It's the most important part. It's where we grew the most. We hit 1 million followers on the Instagram. And so, um, one thing that I'll say is TikTok, what drove a lot for us is fan pages making TikToks. And so other people resourcing our content and pushing it, that grew the show so much.
Wow. So like fans remixing your content, resharing it, adding commentary.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So like I feel like TikTok's been such a major driver of that, like since their launch, just like the remixing, giving creator tools to fans. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. Lots of fan pages. This is a random tangent, but I heard that Andrew Tate, the way that he gets all of his stuff to go so viral is he pays people to start pages to like resource his content and put it out. We obviously don't do that, but that is like a driving force when you get other people to post your content.
Because you're not just speaking to your own existing audience, it's kind of going out to everybody. So wow, that's what a great answer. That's awesome. So let's talk a little bit about monetization. Obviously at Libsyn Ads, we're heavily involved in the monetization front. And I want to just ask both of you, when did monetization enter the picture for Girls Gone Bible? Honestly, I know the answer and it blows my mind every time. But I'd love for you to say, like, when was your first podcast ad? When did you begin monetizing after launch?
I think our first ad was 3 months later.
Yeah.
And was it
Unbelievable.
BetterHelp?
It was BetterHelp.
It was BetterHelp, our first ad ever. God bless BetterHelp.
And so when BetterHelp bought ads 3 months after you launch your podcast, which that's kind of like a unicorn experience. We don't hear about that often, Most shows take quite a bit of time to scale to a point where host-read ads are being bought. Was it a host-read ad? Was it like a dynamically inserted ad, a social media clip?
It was a host read ad,
Yeah.
right? And it was our favorite partnership because before Girls Gone Bible, I actually did BetterHelp. And so I think your question was, so I think you're going to ask a question.
Yes, actually, it's
Yeah.
funny because we did just kind of bleed right into the next question, which is what was your first brand partnership like? And, what did you learn from it?
Yeah, it was BetterHelp. And it was cool because when you actually believe in something, I think that drives people to want to do it. And so when we do ad reads, one of the most important things is we believe in it and we actually love it and we use it. And I think that's why our audience really trusts us because it's like, hey guys, we actually love this product. So we really try to do things that we love and really believe in. And so I think that's how our audience really trusts us,
Right, that honest, genuine endorsement, and
Yeah.
that's like the most common. That's why podcast advertising has been so effective and scaled so quickly. I mean, it's pairing the right brands with the right talent and giving that super engaged message. So,
Why are you
I'm
laughing?
sorry, I'm
Angela-
laughing.
Angela's
No, I'm
laughing
so
at me.
sorry. No, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing because the first time we ever recorded an ad, we didn't have a teleprompter.
No, this is so funny.
So I would hold a piece of paper with the script on my head like this, and we would try to read it from so far away. So I'm just thinking about the humble beginnings.
and all
but-
we do is laugh. Like we can't be together. We laugh. So we're laughing through the whole thing. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
you
but
guys,
the
you guys have
ad
to
was
see us
good,
together.
I
It's
swear.
so funny.
So now you have a teleprompter? I'm just curious
Yeah,
now.
we have
No
a
more
teleprompter now.
signage. That's awesome. That's awesome. So going back to like that engaging, authentic endorsement, this one's for both of you, whoever wants to take it, how do you decide which brands feel aligned, and I will say, like, as Libsyn, we represent Girls Gone Bible with advertisers. We know that, Ari and Ange handpick and make sure that brands are a really good fit. So I'd love for you to share how you decide who feels aligned, who doesn't, what feels authentic, and what might not.
Yeah, I think having a faith-based show, we take so much pride in having integrity, obviously, with who we work with. But I don't think people realize that it's a lot less narrow of a scope than maybe people would think, because a brand doesn't have to be Christian or faith-based for us to want to work with them. They just have to be an integral brand. And we obviously stay away from anything that wouldn't outright align with us. But for example, we might work with a mattress company. They're not Christian, but there's nothing wrong with us working with them. So we just love brands that we believe in and who don't have controversy around them. And that's kind of how we go about it.
That's amazing. Anything to add on that one, Arielle?
No, I think that was good.
No, that was great. So, this one's also for both of you. From your perspective, what is one of the biggest mistakes that podcasters make when it comes to partnering with advertisers? Like, is it obviously you hand select your advertisers, you're not overly sensitive by any means to brands, but you make sure they're a good fit.
Yeah.
What might podcasters do and like fumble in that realm? Is that something that you've seen out there with other podcasts in the space?
Probably the only thing I've really seen is maybe podcasters that are partnering with a brand that there's like no world in which they would actually use them. Sometimes you see something and you're like, oh, that's an interesting fit. So I think it's just important you don't have to use the product every day, but I think it just needs to make sense. Like, it needs to be honest and authentic.
Right. Okay. That's great. That's great. It makes sense. And so, Arielle, like, from your perspective, what mistake do podcasters make when trying to scale? Is there any, out of the gates, you obviously scaled with vulnerability, being genuine. Are there mistakes that podcasters can make when they're trying to grow their audiences?
I would say, I don't know, for me to trust people when I watch them, it's like I'm just gonna keep going back to like realness. Like when I watch someone, when I don't see authenticity, I can see it. And so whenever I just see like inauthenticity, I'm like, oh, I can't watch that. So my advice to podcasters would be just be as real and vulnerable as possible. And then you can never go wrong with being authentic.
That message is so important in podcasting. And, we hear a lot about the AI tools and AI generated feeds going on. Authenticity is so key. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And you have anything to add on that?
I would also say one more thing. I think one of the most important things in social media in general is niche. I don't know if it's niche or niche, but having a niche, being specific. Girls Gone Bible is what it is because it was so specific. And that doesn't mean that it makes our target audience smaller. It's just the vibe was specific. It's about a topic that we are passionate about. I think what I see people doing sometimes is when you have just this like broad range of topics and things that you believe in and want to talk about, you just have to have a niche. It is the most successful, it's the driving force for success.
That's really good. So true.
And Girls Gone Bible is a one of one. There aren't shows out like yours. I mean, this is so you practice exactly what you're preaching right now. So it's amazing. And coming off of what Arielle said about authenticity in terms of scaling, how you can make mistakes by being inauthentic, that growth brings pressure. And how do you protect your voice and authenticity while scaling? Angela.
You just have to stay consistent in what you believe in, what the mission is, and not pay too much attention to the fact that you're scaling. Business-wise, you have an amazing team who takes care of all that stuff for you. And, you capitalize on the things that you can capitalize on, but when it comes to the content and the mission, it just stays the same and consistent. You know what I mean? So I think, yeah, things can get massive without losing integrity and without, I think what we've done hopefully well is it's been 3 years and we've done so much, and we're like basically the same people today as we were 3 years ago, evolved and better, but the vibe hasn't changed that much. And so I think people feel like it's stayed consistent. We still don't know how to do an intro 3 years later. It's like some things never change.
And maybe that's just fine. As it's obviously working. So consistency and authenticity. I love that. Do you have anything to add on that, Arielle?
Yeah. No, I think that's good. It's just consistency. Like, yeah, staying consistent.
So Girls Gone Bible, we're kind of moving on from that side here. Obviously Girls Gone Bible's exploded to a point where it's bigger than just a podcast. You're going on a 50 city tour. Am I right? Correct me if I'm wrong. 50 cities, and just launched their book, Out of the Wilderness, new ventures beyond the audio feed. So I wanted to ask both of you, at what point did you start thinking beyond going to the podcast and kind of taking strides in these new directions?
Yeah, I think we got such an incredible team. We were so blessed to have UTA as our team, and they started bringing us ideas. And I think one of the great things about Ange and I, which is important to do when you start a business, a podcast, is like we got so many offers so quick, and we were like, no, like we got like a 3-book offer deal, and we were like, no, we're not doing 3, we're sticking to 1.
Wow.
And so it's so important not to just take everything right away. And so we were really careful with all that. And I'm so blessed that we had each other to be like, no, we're not doing that, because in the long run, it was the best decision we could have ever made. But we had an amazing team, and we were in a lot of prayer about it. And we just we wrote that beautiful book. And yeah, and then we had a tour department that had a meeting with us about tour. And so, yeah, it's all about your team. You have to have a good team, like Libsyn.
Oh, thank you so much. Y'all are the best. And so the message here is, it was when the time is right. It wasn't, you didn't let third parties come in and push you to take steps in directions that didn't make sense at the time. You waited for when it was right for you, and you could do it in the most authentic manner.
Yeah, and I think when things are happening, you start to get all these offers, and it can look appetizing, right? You're like, oh my God, yes, yes, yes. But it's so important to be careful and not to take every single thing that comes your way, to be very careful. And so
Completely.
And I think timing matters too. Like, I think if we did the tour, how long into did we start touring? Like a year and a half, maybe? We started touring. If we toured any sooner, we just wouldn't have been ready. Our audience wouldn't have been as developed, and it wouldn't have been such a strong following anytime before that. And so, yeah, I just think timing really, really matters for when you take opportunity, what opportunities you take.
Right. So you're obviously sticking to your mission and keeping it, keeping things in-house where it makes sense, not letting outside parties push you in any direction, and, owning your business. It's just that's an amazing thing to see from the sidelines, as a fan of podcasts myself. So, congratulations to both of you on that. It's really amazing and unique. So I want to ask a little bit, get some advice for independent podcasters out there today starting. If you were launching today in 2026, what would you prioritize in your first 12 months of launching a new show today?
I would say this. I'd say first, you have to have really good audio, so really good mics. Second, really good cameras, because the visual has to look good. And then I would say focus on the content, get really specific, make it vibrant and rich and helpful to other people. And then I would just say be consistent and post every single day clips. And it's so basic, but I just think it's the way to go.
No, it makes a lot of sense. Considering what we've been talking about with clips and those social feeds, I mean, if you're not on video, well, not all podcasts are meant for video. Many are. Obviously, Girls Gone Bible is. And, if you're not clipping content out and on screen with quality equipment, then you might be making a mistake in today's podcast industry.
Yeah.
And also crossover as well. So getting on other shows, I think what helped Ari and I too a lot is we just started making lots of friends in the Christian community, and then we all start podcast swapping, and that's really, really helpful for growth.
Yeah, I love that you say that, Ange. I think what really helped us was not like getting really good mics and a good setting, and because you can see it in your clips. Like if you're looking at a clip and you're not in a right setting and it doesn't look good, like people just swipe quick. So I think we were really smart in doing things right. It was a little extra money, but saving up and doing things the right way. And not taking things, I'm going to go back to like not taking everything, like even crossovers. We were very careful who we did crossovers with. So yeah.
It makes so much sense. And I mean, I would encourage everybody in the audience, especially if you're a podcaster looking to scale yourself, take a look at Girls Gone Bible socials on Instagram. You know, their clips are incredible. It's quality video, quality audio, amazing angles. So you all do a really, really good job with the social media.
Yeah.
You know, and do you do it yourself? I'm just curious. So you have, you know, is it, you know, Ange and Ari like on Instagram recording and editing, or like how do you do that side of it, production?
So from the very beginning, we have somebody who does like the initial podcast edit for us, and then Ari goes in and does her edits, and then I'll go in and do the last edit. And then when it comes to clips, we have someone who cuts clips for us. I'm very specific in how I like my clips, so I always do like a last edit and like switch things around. So we're really heavy-handed, even still, in everything that we do.
But I think that's what makes also a business successful is you never lose that. You always be hands-on your business. I see a lot of people that are like, oh yeah, just take care of it. But from the beginning, we've always like been hands-on, and we still are very much.
We didn't have any help for a year. A whole year. We did everything, all editing, posting, clips. We cut every single clip for a year, and then we were drowning and needed
Were you
help.
selling your own ads too a little bit in the first year?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. We know that industry gets wild. Well, very cool. We only have a couple minutes left, so I just wanted to ask each of you individually, starting with Arielle. You know, what, in your opinion, separates a hobbyist from an icon? You know, someone who's just starting out and podcasting for fun to someone who's, maybe icon's not the right word for it, a professional in podcasting.
Such a good question. I just think you can tell when somebody really takes something seriously, you want to watch it. Like I can tell, like one of my favorite podcasts is with the Perrys, and I can just tell that every week when I watch them, they take it very seriously. And so that makes me engage with them even more, you know, rather than watching someone who's just like, hey guys, what do you want to talk about today? And not consistent with their podcasts. When somebody's really all in and cares, that makes you want to engage. And then you create, like, they become family when you watch them. Like, I feel like when I watch me with the Perrys, it's like watching my friends because it's consistency.
Right.
So
right. Seriously. And it's amazing, even just sitting on stage here, you know, we've been talking about a lot of themes of consistency, authenticity,
it's everything.
being genuine. I mean, you've been consistent in your answers on stage. I mean, it's the most important aspect of scaling in an authentic manner. So it's just so cool. What do you think, Angela? The same question, you know, what separates kind of hobbyists from icons and major players out there?
What is a hobbyist?
Someone who's just podcasting for fun, kind of for themselves, having fun, you know.
I mean, I would say what Ari said, and I would say, yeah, just what was the question? I'm so sorry.
This is typical Ari and Ange, you guys.
I'm so sorry.
No, you're totally
It's
fine.
a great question. What makes the difference between a hobbyist and an icon?
Yes.
Can I be
podcasting?
Yeah, what Ari said, you have to be professional and care. You also have to have a little something. You know what I mean?
You do.
You know how they say, like, gosh, podcast equipment's pretty cheap these days. You got to have a little something, some personality or rich content, humor.
No, it's a niche. What you said. You gotta have a niche. You can't go on every week talking about different things and all over the place.
See, Angela answered this question like 3 questions ago, so we're already covered. And we're being genuine up here. And look, we're at time right now. I want to thank both of you for coming all the way down here to Austin.
Well, we want to thank you because you're the best partner ever. And we are so blessed to have you on our team. You have no idea. Like, they are the best. And we are just so blessed to have you guys.
We care a lot about the partnership. And, seriously, y'all are the best. And thanks so much for this. It's been a blast. And thank you to South by Southwest and Sounds Profitable for putting this on. So appreciate everyone's time.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.